production on a conventional basis, as well as seed production organically. And then I will move forward and tell you something about seed production research, where we try to use an organic mindset to support our seed production efforts. And we have a metaphor in embryo damaging insects to show you our way of thinking. Seed production at Bejo is an international effort. As you can see here on the map, we produce seeds in almost all continents of the world, apart from Antarctica, that is, which I think is logical. Bejo produces seed in-house and externally, so we have daughter companies with seed production activities, and we have third-party producers, many of which we have very long-term relationships with. We also produce seed indoor and outdoor. In our total surface area that is needed for seed production, about 90 to 95% of that surface is outdoor. This international effort is needed because the crops and the genetic groups that we offer in our assortment need specific environmental circumstances for seed production. These circumstances are needed to get the right amount of bolting, so the induction of flowering, to get good circumstances during flowering and pollination, but also still good circumstances while ripening and harvesting the seed. Most of the crops we produce at Bejo and sell at Bejo are biannual for their seed production cycle, which means that the seed production cycle is about 11 to 13 months long, moving through 4 seasons, so usually starting early, middle, late summer, and then the harvesting period is again somewhere later in the summer. Most of these production steps in conventional seed growing at least are seed to seed, so we put a seed in the ground and the full cycle then delivers us a seed at the end. I'll show you some quick nice pictures of fields in flower. On the left hand you see a fennel crop in full flower. On the right hand you see a carrot crop in full flower. And again a picture of cauliflower or brassica crop and onions. Now what you see especially in the cauliflower crop quite nicely is 2 parent lines, which make the hybrid in the end, so a female line and a male line that are needed for cross-pollination. Now I'll move over a bit more to organic seed production. Again, an international effort. It's the same map, but organic seed production is mainly done at the moment in North America and Europe. Key thing there is that rules and regulations are important for us at the moment to be able to produce organic certified seed. Slowly we are expanding and trying other areas for production, which is challenging. It's challenging to find a good grower base and local organic expertise, and the rules and regulations need to match with each other, which is not always the case. Another part that makes organic seed production challenging but not impossible is that this long crop cycle requires a lot of effort. I just explained the cycle is 11 through to 13 months, which makes it difficult for the control of weeds and managing diseases and insects during the different seasons of the year. And there we have 2 main production methods that give us some playroom for weed control specifically, and sometimes also some control over disease pressure. We can stick with direct seeding, a very long cycle in one field. There weed control is a difficulty. Hopefully some technological advances will help us in the future. Disease and insect pressure are also difficult in that long cycle. What we can do there is go through a transplanting method. So that means that we grow the crop to a level that it is usually grown commercially. Then we need to store the crop until we can plant it again. In that way, we cut the cycle in two, which gives us a bit more control over weeds. It's still an issue, though. It gives us an extra difficulty with logistics and storage of the crop, which needs to happen in the right circumstances. And again, then disease pressure, especially with storage, can become an issue. These are two methods that we can use to try and manage difficulties in seed production. I'll move to production research, and why we have production research in the first place at Bejo is to support and deliver research efforts as a service to the production efforts. And what we try to do is improve seed quality, the reliability of the seed production, and seed yield. Again, very important to us, it's an international approach. Mostly we do our own research at daughter companies and long-term partners, and work together with each other on an international level to figure out as many things as possible. Our work is divided over agronomy, so the growing of the crop. Growing of the crop are things like sowing time, sowing densities, fertilization, irrigation, soil management, crop protection. Then the second big topic for us is insects, pollinators. As you might know, Bejo invests quite a bit in bees, for instance, to use as pollinators in our own seed productions, but also insects from a pest perspective and a beneficial perspective. And then the third part that we define is technology, where we try to follow the developments around us and work with partners to work on precision agriculture, data management, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and see how we can apply these in the seed production process. Very important for us is production research for organics. We do not necessarily specifically do research for organics. It's mostly our vision that we try to use as many organic or non-chemical approaches that are possible for both conventional and organic problems. And for us, the key message there is to start by understanding and working with nature, understanding the challenge that we face in combination with the crop and the genetics, and in combination with the environment that the challenge or problem occurs. And with this improved understanding and deeper insights, we can hopefully figure out, again, organic or non-chemical approaches to solve these issues. As a metaphor for this, we have a very interesting topic with a specific type of insects that do damage to the seed, mostly in Apiaceae or Umbelliferae, so carrots and fennel and those types of crops. And what we try to do from a research perspective here is, again, what I said before, understanding the problem. So what insects impact us? Can we understand their cycle? How often and at what times are they in our fields? When is the crop vulnerable? And then think of solutions and use different known strategies in organic and try and combine all these strategies to have an impact on the insect in our fields. So the end result should be a combined strategy to face this problem. Now, to go in a bit deeper on this insect, it's a phytophagous insect, so it eats on plants. It likes many different plant species, so it's usually already in the environment. The insect is highly mobile. The peak of their population is during the pollination and seed ripening stage for Apiaceae and Umbelliferae crops. They enjoy eating on seeds. It's a very nutritious form of food for them. And they thereby have a huge impact on our seed yield and our seed quality. The main problem is, like I said, in Apiaceae or Umbelliferae, these crops flower reasonably late in the season, so the environment is slowly drying up. And so these insects, which are highly mobile, slowly move into our fields and do damage. Then it's trying to understand the insect, and it's not just one insect. It's an insect group that has many different subspecies within the group, and all of them do their own specific damage. And this was quite an important step in our research approach, is to recognize that there's multiple similar insects that we have to deal with. And understanding this also gave us a better understanding of different strategies to work on. We try to predict the cycle of the insect so that we can work on our understanding of the insect and use it also to look at monitoring of the insect. Monitoring the insect and its presence in our field is very important and a key to understand when and how the problem occurs and when we have to do something. Understanding how to monitor these insects has been a key finding for us. First off, you can go into a crop and see them visually with your eyes. You can use sweep nets as a method for monitoring, or you can use a tray for monitoring. And what you see below in the visual graphic is that by looking at them visually, you only look on top of the crop. With the sweep net, you go a bit deeper in the crop, and with a beating tray, you almost use the full crop to monitor. Now, compared to a sticky trap, where the insects have to accidentally fly against a trap before we can see them, these methods all offer their benefits. Now, for this specific type of insect, we use the beating tray method because it's also very robust in different weather types. You can see in sunny weather, it's possible to have visual inspections by eye and also with the sweeping net. But you see that in adverse weather, so windy or cloudy circumstances, rainy circumstances, the beating tray method is the best method to know what the level of population is in your field. Now, this has helped us in explaining to our guys in the field to monitor and understand the development of the cycles and the population in the field a lot better. Now, again, we stick with understanding the insect. When you know that you have a problem, you also want to know what sort of damage they do. And here in this slide, you see some pictures of damage these insects can do by pinching on flowers or on stems of flowers. You see flowers dry up, which is where they can cause us a seed yield loss. Flowers abort and no seed can be formed there. But also, again, like I said, they damage the seed, the quality of the seed. And the picture here under shows you some seed, carrot seed, that has been sliced open in the lab, and they've done a tetrazolium test on it, which is the red coloring. And what is shown here is that different types of damage are done by the insect. They can partially eat on the embryo, they can fully eat the embryo, and anywhere in between, which has an impact on our germination. Which is, of course, very bad for the quality of the seed. Now, the understanding needs to be at the level where we know at what time the crop is vulnerable. So apart from the earlier stages in flowering, we need to know till what point the crop is vulnerable when the seed is ripening also. And what you can see here is the two types of insect are the orthops insect and ligus insect. Over the growth stage, the growth phases of the crop, so from late flowering till early ripening, you can see the amount of damage that they do in the red and orange colors. So from if you look at the ligus graph, the bottom one is growth stage 69, which means the end of flowering. At this stage, it can do up to 50-60% of damage on the germination of the seed lot. And up until stage 81, which is the seed ripening part of the growth stages, it can still do 20-30% of damage to the seed quality. So for quite a long period, this insect can have a huge impact on our crop, and we need to be very wary of what the insect does. Now then we move a bit more towards the solution stage. So now we know when the insect is there. We know the best ways to find the insect in the field. We have an understanding of the impact they have on yield and quality. And now we have to think of solutions to impact this insect. Now the first step is to understand which beneficials impact the insect. So which of the beneficials that are around in our crops have an influence on the insect. Now we've monitored, while we are monitoring for the insect, we are also monitoring for the beneficials at the same time. Using the beating train method, we can see what the population is over the years in different places of the world, and that can give us an understanding what species of beneficials are predominant. Now later, this information can be used to support these beneficials with the right amount of banker plants and places where they can breed and mate and multiply. Again, solution based, we then look at trap plants. So can we get a perimeter around our umbelliferae fields where we can capture the insect and keep them in our banker plants? So we've done multiple trials in different parts of the world to see what this trap plant strategy works like. We've tried different trap plants because these insects all have different preferences. Some of them really enjoy umbelliferae specifically, such as orthops. Others are much more generally interested in seeds, so they also fly to other crops like lucerne or flower mixes. And what you can see here is that actually, like I said, ligus enjoys much more all sorts of crops. It's not that interested in the carrots. The orange color is the amount of insects found in the carrot. The yellow and green are other trap plants, so lucerne and a flower mix. The orthops, however, is much more interested, as you can see in the graph, in carrots in the orange bar. Almost all of them are to be found in the carrot, and almost none of them are to be found in the flower mix and banker plants. Now then we diversified our flower mixes to see if that impacts the interest of the insect. And here again, this was for an organic seed production field in France at a reasonable small scale. We filled the perimeter with different flower mixes and tried to see if any of the flower mixes were better or worse for the two different insects. Now here you see that one, again for the ligus, it enjoys both the flower mix and the carrot, but mostly the flower mix. And for orthops, you can see that it enjoys mostly the carrot. And there's only one type of flower mix that it is reasonably interested in. So for us in the coming research, orthops will be a focus to find a flower mix or a type of crop that they enjoy more than our carrots in this case. And then in other places in the world, Australia, for instance, we have two different types of insect that belong to the same group, not Ligas, not orthops, but Nicias and Sydnea, which again enjoy a completely different set of crops. Here, for instance, for Nicias, sunflower crops are very interesting, which are readily available over there as both in weeds as well as trap plants. But the Sydnea, it enjoys much more the lucerne than any other crop. So there we think we have a much clearer strategy for these two insects compared to in other locations with Ligas and orthops. Now we're nearing the end of the presentation. What are the next steps in this research is to combine these different topics of research into a strategy. So try a combination of flower mixes and understanding and our grown understanding of the insects, and see if we can have an impact on the amount of insects that do get in our field. And I hope that with this topic of insects, I've shown a bit the metaphor of our thinking in production research. That understanding nature and taking steps to understand the problems and the environment that we're working in can give us new insights. So seed production for organic and for conventional both have a very long cycle. Even though this long cycle causes issues, it still is possible to produce good seed organically. It's just a bit less controllable than conventional seed production. Now, working with nature, we can support our organic and conventional seed production from a production research perspective. Understanding our challenges will give us new insights. Understanding nature will give us new insights. And these insights we will have to translate into new solutions to improve our seed production. Thank you very much for listening and hopefully enjoying this presentation. I will now have a look at our questions and we'll go into discussion with you if wanted and needed. Peter has a question. How far is Bejo with effective treatments against Ligas in organic carrot production? We're at the stage of where we, I think, can try some different strategies as presented here with different flower mixes and combination of monitoring and helping beneficial populations grow in the field. So we don't have a fully effective treatment yet. We're at the stage, really at the trial stage, where we can upscale now. And it will be interesting to see in the coming 1 or 2 years if these strategies will have an impact. Yolanda has a question whether or not this is only relevant for organic seed production or conventional seed production. Yeah, I've used this presentation for organic seed production, but what I'm trying to say is that this organic mindset can be fully applied in conventional seed production as well. The less reliant on chemicals, the better it is, both for the environment as well as for the farmer, I think. And if these methods are reliable and work, yeah, I think conventional seed production can also learn a lot from this topic, especially over the coming years, where I think in many places in the world, the list of allowed chemicals will decrease, and the amount of efficacy we can get out of these chemicals and applications it will also decrease. So again, that's why for me, organic or non-chemical mindset is a metaphor both for conventional and organic. Frank has a question whether or not organic seeds are produced locally or similar to conventional, transported on an international scale. And does organic seed production require local production? So as I showed in the slide about organic seed production, again, it's an international effort with most of the production areas in Europe and North America at the moment. We are working on other areas to increase the areas where we can produce organic seeds. Based on the crops and the genetics, I think international seed production is a necessity because certain environments suit certain genetics very well and certain crop types. So we cannot supply the amount of seeds needed by producing them locally. Does sugar beet acreage continue to be a threat to beet production? Yes, in the short answer is yes. It depends on the area and whether or not sugar beet production is something that is done in the area. But in certain areas where sugar beets and red beets are both produced, it's always something that is very important to make sure that we don't have them too close to each other. So for organic, where we have some areas where sugar beet production is important, the increase or decrease of sugar beet production has impact on our red beet production. And that's why we're trying to expand also, so we have enough places in the world to manage this. For now, I see there are no further questions. If that's the case, then I thank you for participating and listening to me. I hope you have enjoyed the presentation, and we would like to ask you to fill in the survey, which I think I'm sharing now. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.